Okay. Not long ago, when I told a friend I was working on a new book, he asked, "What is it about?" "Fascism," I asked. He looked puzzled. "Fashion?" he queried. My friend was less mistaken than it might have seemed, because fascism has indeed become fashionable, insinuating its ways into social and political conversation like a renegade vine. Disagree with someone, call them a fascist, and thereby relieve yourself of a need to support your argument with facts. Oh, man, this is hitting home to the left. Shit. I'm gonna keep this up in the air for now. In 2016, fascism was searched on the Merriam-Webster Dictionary website more often than any other word in English except surreal, which experienced a sudden spike after the November presidential election. To use the term fascist is to reveal oneself. For those on the far left, virtually any corporate bigwig fits the bill. To some on the not-so-far right, Barack Obama is a fascist, in addition to being a socialist and closet Muslim. Okay. To a rebellious teen, fascism may apply to any parentally opposed cell phone restriction. As people vent their daily frustrations, the word escalates a million mouths. Teachers are called fascists, and so too are feminists. Chauvinists, yoga instructors, police, dieters, bureaucrats, bloggers, bicyclists, copy editors, people who have just quit smoking, and the makers of child-proof packaging. If we continue to indulge this reflex, we may soon feel entitled to label as fascist anyone or anything we find annoying, draining potency from what should be powerful term. Honestly, I can actually agree with this, and if what she's gonna say is like this is why Trump came to office, because the Gamergate era and the anti-social justice side of things, they were all that left before they, some of them didn't become the righties, but you know what I'm talking about. This is actually, she is going in deep with an era that I feel so nostalgic about. I'm pretty sure most people might disagree that the left is just going around calling everybody a fascist, but people I listen to who used to be almost going on the Gamergate thing, like they're on the left, and they did actually kind of suggest, some unfavorable assumptions and whatnot about feminists and the rest of the social justice movement. I can totally kind of connect with this, as I almost fell into that. And it's a shame if it's true that there was so much confusion that the left, that were almost going into the Gamergate officially, the ones that came out of it, that's good, but I feel like this was the bottleneck for Trump to enter the confusion. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that as like blaming the left at all. Like, it is not necessarily the left's fault. This, man, that was just such an immature time for us, Alright, sorry. What then is real fascism, and how does one recognize a practitioner? I put these questions to the graduate class I teach at Georgetown. 24 students sitting in a circle around my living room, balancing lasagna, leaking paper plates on their laps. The queries were harder to answer than might be expected, because there are no fully agreed upon or satisfactory definitions. Though academic writers have spilled oceans of ink in the attempt, it seems that whenever some experts shout "Eureka!" and claims to have identified a consensus, indignant colleagues disagree. Despite the complexity, my students were eager to have a go. They began from a ground up, naming the characteristics that were to their minds most closely associated with the word. A mentality of us against them, offered one. Another ticked off. Nationalist, authoritarian, anti-democratic. A third emphasized the violent aspect. A fourth wondered why fascism was almost always considered right-wing, arguing, quote, Stalin was as much a fascist as Hitler. Still, another noted that fascism is also linked to people who are part of a distant ethnic or racial group, who are under socioeconomic stress, and who feel that they are being denied rewards that they are entitled. It's not so much what people have, she said, but what they think they should have and what they fear. Fear is why fascism's emotions can extend to all levels of society. No political environment can flourish without popular support, but fascism isn't dependent on wealthy and powerful as it is on the man or woman in the street, on those who have much to lose and those who have nothing at all. This insight made us think that fascism should perhaps be viewed as less as a political ideology than as a means for seizing and holding power. For example, Italy in the 1920s included self-described fascists of the left who advocated a dictatorship of the dispossessed, of the right who argued for an authoritarian proletariat state, and of the center who sought a return to absolute monarchy. The German Nationalist Socialist Party, the Nazis, originally came around a list of demands that catered to anti-Semites, anti-immigrants, and anti-capitalists, but also advocated for higher age pensions, more educational opportunities for the poor, an end to child labor, and improved maternal health care. The Nazis were racist and, in their own minds, reformers at the same time. If fascism concerns itself less in specific policies than with finding a pathway to power, what about the tactics of leadership? My students remarked that the fascist chief we remember best were charismatic. Though one method or another each established an emotional link to the crowd and, like the central figure in a cult, brought a deep and often ugly feelings to the surface. This is how the tentacles of fascism spread inside a democracy. Unlike a monarchy or military dictatorship imposed on society from above, fascism draws energy from men and women who are upset because of the lost war, a lost job, a memory of humiliation, or a sense that their country is in a deep decline. The more painful the grounds for resentment, the easier it is for a fascist leader to gain followers by dangling the prospect of renewal or by vowing to take back what has been taken. Oof. Like the mobilizers of more benign movements, these secular evangelists exploit the near universal human desire to be part of the meaningful quest. The more gifted among them have an aptitude for spectacle, for orchestrating mass